Welcome back to our conversation where we're talking about the gold rush and these 5 gold nuggets that I want you to have in your life, in your career, and in your business. In the gold rush, there were some pretty interesting inventions, some things that made the work easier, that you didn't have to get out the water and just use your hands to look for gold. That we use pickaxes. We've all seen the pickaxe, like in the seal there for California. They use these big pans. You've seen that probably on TV and different shows, right? When they do some panning and they swirl that water around, the heavier gold goes to the bottom of the sediment. And then they made these devices like we see here that's called a rocker, that you would take a shovel of material and dump it into this rocker, and you would rock it, and that would help the gold separate from the dirt and the bigger rocks and so on, and then it would kind of collect there to the bottom of that device called a rocker. Well, in the gold rush, they saw that gold was often in these veins where they would get caught and compressed inside of quartz. We had to split that quartz open to get the gold out. And so these machines were called stampers. That stampers, you would put the quartz in there, and they would crush the quartz through these little, basically like hammers that you see at the bottom. And so it would crush the quartz and they could get to those veins of gold much easier. So the stampers would crush the quartz to get the golds. And then over time, a new process was invented. And we see this a lot. If you ever watch those shows, which I did, I like them, about the gold rush. And there's the ones that are all up in the Yukon or California, and they have these big machines that, they take the material up and it dumps into a sluice, and that washes off the dirt and the material, and the gold gets collected in these mats, separate from all the material. Or there's another one that I really like where they're in this river and they dive down with a device that suctions up, like a big vacuum hose that suctions up the material, and that goes through a sluice. So a sluice was invented, who knows when it was invented, but it was used in the gold rush. And so they would actually divert the river a little bit, and they would put the material into the sluice like these guys are doing here, and the water would run over that material and separate it from the gold, which we wanted, in the mud and the pebbles and so on. That made it easier to get the gold out of the river. So they had this different material that would pile up to one side because it had been cleaned, and then they put new material in to find the gold. But it made it a little bit easier than having to pan over and over and over. So they refined the process. This is a sluice, and so they put the material in at the top, and the water flows over that material, and because gold is heavy, it sinks to the bottom of those different ledges all the way back out, and the material that's not gold gets washed out the bottom of the sluice back into the river. So it was a creative way to make work easier, to be, what is our last gold nugget here, to innovate, to be innovative. There are lots of things that we can do to be innovative, that we have to be creative in project management and operations and different businesses. Innovations we want to encourage. Have you ever been in an organization where you have a new idea or a better way to do a process or a way to save time, and a manager or the owner says, just do it the way we've been doing it? Isn't that very demoralizing? That individual probably has 1,000 things on their plate. They're busy. It doesn't matter to them because they're not the one doing the work. The innovation, we often have to sell. We have to sell why this is a better way, why this is a new and exciting thing to do. That we want to be almost an evangelist for this innovation. We want to be a cheerleader, a champion of the innovation. But sometimes it takes time to show people the innovation and why this is of value. And that's key there, the value. That we have to show value, that what's valuable to you may not be valuable to me. that I have to understand what other people see as value. So it was easy for people to see the value in gold. If this was a rush to go, get metal, to go get iron ore, they're like, well, that's everywhere. That's not hard. We can find that just about anywhere. So that is not value. But then we had the innovation of how we make this easier to get the gold, the sluice, the pickaxe, the stampers to crush the quartz, that there were innovations to get to your goal faster. So our last gold nugget here that we see from the gold rush, that we can see in our life, is to innovate, to find a way to innovate, to get creative, to get to value faster, or to get to value easier, or to get a better return on investment, to get a better reward for the risk that we're taking on. Innovation, we have lots of opportunity for innovation right now. Innovation is often seen as a disruption, like we saw in the tech space over the years, or we saw online, or that I believe we're seeing with AI right now, that it's a disruption to the normality of how things get done. Where there's innovation, there's often opportunity. So we can look at where there's innovation, and then we can think about what is the thing that we are seeking, what is the value? Are there opportunities to mine the miners, to make on the way there, to make a return on investment on the way there? And then what are the risks and rewards of being an early adapter, to being an early embracer of a new innovation? So there are lots of things that we have to consider when it comes to innovation. But that is our last gold nugget, is to innovate, to be creative and to be innovative. I want to thank you for your time and attention as we walk through this fun and brief presentation about the 5 gold nuggets that you can apply in your life, in your career, and in your business. If you enjoyed this presentation, you enjoyed this series, I would encourage you to share this out. Put it on LinkedIn, put it on your favorite social media, like and subscribe, share it with others, leave some comments. Let me know what else you would like to talk about in these series of lectures. I appreciate you. Hop over to instructing.com for more courses that I and my team offer on project management, and careers. If you are seeking a way to maintain your PDUs for PMI credentials and certifications, come over to Pure Management Alliance. We have the Pure Project Manager credential and a few other surprises there that you may be interested in. Once again, thanks for your time. Keep looking for gold nuggets, and I'll see you in future classes. Keep moving forward.